What is good, everybody? Welcome to a special breaking news live edition of the original Gold Standard podcast. I'm Rob Stats Carrera. He's Levin Black. And the breaking news, if you haven't heard, the Trey Lance era in San Francisco is over because Tom Pelissero is reporting, and I'm going to try and get it up on the stream right now, that the Niners are done with Trey Lance. They are naming Sam Darnold as their number 2 quarterback, even though Kyle Shanahan just told us yesterday that they could rotate. But Darnold is number 2, and the team is exploring options with Trey Lance. Sources tell me and Rap Sheet Darnold will back up Purdy, while the future of Lance is unclear. Levin, your reaction?
I wouldn't say it's 100%. That's my first reaction to what you said. It's not 100%. These are, anonymous sources. And like you said, Kyle Shanahan just said something different yesterday. But outside of that, if this ends up being true, what the hell were you waiting on? Like, how can you tell me Darnold has looked clearly better than Trey Lance? And why did you just flat out lie yesterday? Because we know that Sam Darnold has taken the number 2 and gotten more reps in back-to-back practices, which is a change from what they've been doing, alternating the two. So it would seem like yesterday, Kyle Shanahan had already made this choice, which means he boldly, flat out lied to the media. Like, not, you can kind of see how he could say that and it's not 100%. No, he flat out lied. And for all those who want to say, well, the coach said it, so it must be true, keep that in mind in the future. Kyle Shanahan has done this before. He will flat out lie to the media. He does not give a shit. And That's what he did here. My thing is you can't tell me Sam Darnold looked better than Trey Lance. So why are you going with the guy on the 1-year deal that is got no chance of being better than what you're seeing currently? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Now, if there's a trade market for Trey Lance, you can't tell me that the trade market suddenly developed in the last couple of weeks either. So if this was your choice and you thought Sam Darnold was just fine to be the number 2, why the hell did you wait? Did you wait just to screw over the young kid so that he doesn't get a true chance of starting? Because nobody's going to trade for him and want him to be the starter at this point. And at the same time, did you wait just to have a extreme fallback in case Brock Purdy got re-injured? And if that's the case, then why the hell is he number 3? Right? If you held on to him to have him as the emergency if something happens to Brock Purdy and he has a setback and he's not actually going to be able to go, then why the heck is he not number 2?
This whole thing stinks. It stinks, Levin. And I told people the second Sam Darnold signed with this team that he wasn't just QB3. I tried to tell you, read the writing on the wall. The 49ers wanted this from the beginning. Now, when Trey Lance has his best preseason ever, they're done with him? No, this was always what they wanted. Sam Darnold hasn't done anything to be QB2. He's done nothing to be QB2. He doesn't even know the system yet. And they're still getting rid of Trey Lance. And they're still doing it. We better pray to the gods of football that Brock Purdy does not get hurt. Because if Brock Purdy gets hurt, we're fucked, okay? We are fucked if Brock Purdy gets hurt. And I'm saying it now, and it's not hard to see.
Yeah, so they not only have to root or hope for that, but you got to hope that he is the real deal as well, which the jury's still out on that. I think his floor is pretty much Jimmy Garoppolo. So his floor is pretty high, but can he be better than Jimmy Garoppolo? And if he's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo, what the heck are you doing, right? You got to have somebody that's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Otherwise, you're not getting over the hump because that's how it's been. You need a whole bunch of lucky breaks in the playoffs for you to win a Super Bowl with a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. So if that's what Brock Purdy is, you're not winning a Super Bowl unless you get, the lightning in the bottle once every 15-year playoff run like Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens, which we all know all too well. So Kyle Shanahan, this is the biggest fork in the road of his tenure. for sure, in my opinion. Like, this is he better be right on Purdy, and Purdy better be able to stay healthy and not be an injury-prone player, or this could be the downfall, right? This could be the thing that if you're a player in that locker room and Trey Lance goes and he turns out to be a pretty good starting quarterback and Brock Purdy's constantly hurt and the Niners can't get over the hump, eventually the locker room's going to start to go, well, you screwed this up, right?
Hey, I don't think this guy has any idea what the hell he's doing. Like, give me a break here. And I tweeted it out. I tweeted out this exact thing. What, I can't find it right now, but I swear to God, I have it saved on my phone somewhere. What did I say? I said that the Niners were going to say that Sam Darnold beat out Trey Lance, and they're going to say, well, we want to do what's best for Trey, and he actually requested a trade, so we're going to try and trade him now. I predicted this, man. Yeah. I predicted this exact scenario. This is the biggest mismanagement of the quarterback position that I can remember by anybody. This is an absolute disaster. And the 49ers better pray to the freaking gods that Brock Purdy is the real deal. Like Kyle Shanahan said, you better be right. You better be right. Because now you're putting the season in the hands of a guy that's played 8 games coming off major surgery, and his backup is a guy that's career is on life support that would never be in the league if he was black and had the exact same numbers. Has no business being in the NFL.
You go too far with that one. Sam Darnold is an NFL quarterback. He's just nowhere near a starter.
If he was black, he'd never get a third chance. He'd never get a third chance. If he show me the black quarterback that's gotten 3 chances to be a potential starting quarterback.
Heck, you got Tyrod Taylor.
He's had 3 chances to be a starter.
He was in Buffalo. He was in, not San Diego, the Chargers. And he was, before that, he started in Baltimore before he went to Buffalo.
That's 2 chances.
Baltimore, Buffalo, Chargers.
He was starter with the Chargers?
Yeah, remember he had that weird thing happen to him? That was the only reason why Herbert got in as a rookie?
They had Justin Herbert there.
As a rookie, and Taylor was supposed to be starting. And then he had that medical thing where they screwed him up.
He was a placeholder. It was Herbert's job. Come on.
He still had a chance to start.
Oh, you're getting real technical here.
No, if he balls out as the starter, he wouldn't have gotten replaced, right? He was starting. He was listed as the starter. He got a chance to start.
He's getting replaced. They had just drafted Herbert. Anyway. Look, this is a disaster for the 49ers. If Trey Lance, look, they're going to sell you that he requested a trade, but they were out on him the second they got Sam Darnold. That's why you can't trust Kyle Shanahan. You can't trust what they say. You have to look at what they do. Kyle just told Peter King, oh, well, we didn't know what Sam Darnold, we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know if he's going to be the 1, 2, or 3. This was the plan that they wanted all along.
And that's my issue here from, in the end, it's a business, but when you don't gain anything from the business perspective, holding on to a player and you just hold them ransom, I take issue with that. There's been some instances of that where a team is purposely just holding somebody so another team can't get them, even though they're not planning on playing that person. I have a problem. If your plan was, okay, Sam Darnold is our number 2, why the heck didn't you trade Trey Lance for whatever the heck you could have gotten? Because you can't tell me his trade value is significantly higher now than it was back during the draft, right? There's no way. So all you did was screw this kid over even more than you already have. And I take issue with that. I tend to fall more on players should get paid, but I also, outside of that, tend to take the team's perspective. It is a business. It's ruthless. It is what it is. That's why players should get the most that they can get at the time that they can. But that's also why, like, a team moving on from a player, I'm not going to be upset about unless, like I said, they held on to him and screwed the person's chances over because they waited so long that no team's going to bring them in at the last minute to try to take over the team, right? So now you're sitting and going, who gets injured, right? I don't think there's going to be much of a trade market unless they're just going to pull the trigger on like a 7th round pick trade. And somebody brings him in as the backup that they hope he can develop, right? I don't see there being much of a trade market currently because there hasn't been quarterback injuries this preseason.
they butchered this thing. They butchered every single part of it. They butchered Trey's development. Then if you want to move him, you should have moved him during the draft where you could have got a fifth. They're not going to probably get a fifth now. Like, no, they just butchered everything. This freaking team, I swear to God, they don't know what they're doing at quarterback, okay?
It's not the team. This is let's put it up where it belongs. This is 100% Kyle Shanahan. If you draft a developmental quarterback who has as low of experience as it gets coming into the draft, then you have to play him. That's the thing. Trey Lance's situation as a quarterback isn't the same as drafting somebody with a ton of experience at the top and saying, well, they can sit for a year, right? No, their big thing is they need experience. So you have to play him, which means Kyle Shanahan screwed all of this up from year one, and it's just been a train wreck that continued to not be able to get back on the tracks because Kyle Shanahan was standing there the whole time saying, hey, that one doesn't go on these tracks. You put that over there. We don't want it on my tracks, right? That's the issue. It's not the team. I don't know how much John Lynch and all them played a part in it, but it doesn't matter because once he's on the team, it's Kyle Shanahan's job to get him developed, and Kyle Shanahan didn't develop him. And, like I see, our friend Javi Vega tweeted that the Niners are choosing experience with Sam's over development with Trey. It's win now window. How is it a win now window with Sam? That's what I don't get. If something happens to Purdy, and let's say you need somebody to start like the Purdy situation last year, the last 5 games, and then try to win a Super Bowl with. Sam Darnold is not winning a Super Bowl. He might be able to limp you through a couple games and not destroy the team, not lose 4 straight games. He might be able to go 2-2, 3-1 if the defense plays lights out, but you're not winning a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. So the only person that gave you the chance to still win a Super Bowl as a backup is Trey Lance, because the chance is he develops in those 5 games and he's at a really high level by the time playoffs come around. So this isn't a win now choice. Now, if you're saying as a starter, like it's different a little bit, right? Because maybe Trey Lance takes half a season and you don't even make the playoffs with him if he's the starter right now. But this is the backup. So this is your, oh crap, something happened to Brock Purdy scenario. We still need to have a window open to win a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold has no window. He's in a windowless room, right? There's no Super Bowl window with Sam Darnold. It's not win now with him.
This is a joke. And Waveware, Meltdown Maniacs coming up. Yeah, sorry, I get a little pissed when my team totally screws the pooch. Sorry, I get a little mad when that happens. I'm not supposed to
put it this way. In retrospect, no matter what they get as a trade back, it is going to be in the top 5 for worst trades of all time. You traded 3 first-round picks.
Plus,
you got 3.5 games out of the guy, and you traded him for peanuts. It is one of the worst trades in NFL history, period, at this point.
And think about this, right? This was a backup for QB2, right? Now they're trying to trade him before the 3rd preseason game. He never had a chance. It was never a fair fight because they're not even waiting for the fight to be over before they're deciding to trade him.
Now, I will say this. The one thing that if you try to connect the dots, and we don't have a lot of info right now, but the one thing that might have changed since yesterday when Kyle Shanahan said we might go back and forth all year with the backup, blah, 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 or number 2, is Trey Lance said, F it, I'm out, and requested a trade formally. And that would cause a change of tune, and that would cause this to start coming out, right? Dude, I could see that. Trey Lance, I don't believe has requested a trade. We would have had leaks, right?
There are rumors that he already requested a trade. Okay. There are rumors that he requested a trade months ago. So I'm not buying that from San Francisco. This is such a crock. The 49ers are just oh my God. Maxime says if we had an ownership that gave a damn about football, this would be Super Bowl or bust for this regime. That's an interesting question. I mean, I wish that Jed York would have clunked Kyle Shanahan's head together with John Lynch's head and said, you're doing wrong by Trey Lance and you're screwing up our quarterback position. But Jed's never going to do that because all Jed cares about is that the money keeps rolling in. That's it.
Right. So that's what I tweeted out, that Kyle Shanahan should not have choice of quarterback anymore. That should be taken away from him because he clearly cannot manage the quarterback situation. Now, he might have caught lightning in a bottle and had a horseshoe up his ass and got Brock Purdy, and everything's going to be perfectly fine for the 49ers, right? There is, I would say, a high probability that the 49ers are just fine and the team will move on. They'll win a bunch of games. They'll be a Super Bowl contender, for a minimum of the next couple of years, right? Because if Brock Purdy is Jimmy Garoppolo or better, the Niners are going to stay a 10+ win team, right? But there's no question that he doesn't know how to manage the quarterback, because let's review what he's done since he took over. Hey, I'm not scouting any quarterbacks in the draft. I don't care, because I know I'm getting Cousins next year. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo fell into our laps. Let's pay him record money and forget about Kirk Cousins, right? Because they could have still gone that offseason and said, I don't care what Jimmy did in those 5 games. We're going to bring in Kirk. But they paid Jimmy, and then they hitched their wagon to him and kept hitching it over and over again when he kept getting hurt. So they go, finally, they see the light. We got to trade 3 first-round picks to get the quarterback of our choice. And they do that. They make the all-in move, except for they go all in, and then they're immediately grabbing back at the middle of the table and trying to take the chips back and saying, hold on, we want to stick with the guy that we haven't been able to win a Super Bowl with because, well, he might be better right in this instant. We're not going to worry about developing and having the sustained success that we always talk about as a regime, right? That's what they want. But they weren't willing to do the development by Trey Lance, so they didn't play him in that season, right? That's like every step of the way, Kyle Shanahan has made this situation worse, right? They could have been in on Trey Lance and figured out what he was by now and still gone and gotten Brock in the 7th round last year, right? They could have done so many things. If you played him in 2021, you have your answer by now. But they didn't. And that is where everything went awry. Because you didn't play him in year 1, you screwed everything else up. And because you wanted to constantly try to ride the fence with Jimmy Garoppolo and bring him back and keep him in the room so that Trey Lance can't become the leader in the locker room, because it is impossible to be the leader in that locker room with Jimmy Garoppolo still sitting there. Of
course.
They still talk highly about Jimmy Garoppolo, right? So you screwed the kid every step of the way. It might end up working out, and we all forget about this because Brock Purdy is the real deal. So he might have an out in that regard. But if Brock Purdy's not the real deal, Kyle Shanahan is going to very much be on the hot seat regardless of wins.
Here's what the 49ers are doing. They're telling you in their Super Bowl or bust year that they're betting on the most unlikely story in the history of the NFL at quarterback, coming off major surgery to his throwing arm. No, it's even more unlikely than Brady because he was picked
Kurt Warner
round later.
Kurt Warner.
No, I think this is more.
You can't trump that. Kurt Warner off the streets, arena football, Super Bowl champ, MVP.
I think this is even more unlikely. Kurt Warner wasn't coming off major surgery to his throwing arm.
No, but you know that the quarterback's halfway decent. This is a guy literally wasn't even supposed to make the team, suddenly becoming the NFL MVP and Super Bowl. But whatever, we can move on. We don't need to argue about that.
I mean, Xandro96 says they should have never drafted Trey. I hope Trey finds a new team and plays balls out. What a disgrace.
They should have drafted Trey if they were going to follow the path they needed to follow, which was play the kid right away. If you're not going to play the kid right away because you're in win now mode, you stay your ass put and you take Mac Jones.
This was the worst, dumbest possible way they could have handled Trey Lance. They literally did it. They did it. It's unbelievable. If there's ever any indication that this team doesn't know what they're doing to quarterback, here it is. And like we said, if you wanted to trade Trey Lance, then you should have done it during the draft when you got a 5th round pick that was on the table, according to Mike.
They were too scared to do that. This is truly what I think their thought is. They were too scared to do that because they didn't know for sure Purdy would be back. And if Purdy wasn't going to be back and they had an entire season, they would go with Lance, right? If something happened to Purdy and he had a setback and he was going to be out all year or a majority of the year, they would take their lumps with Trey Lance early to see if he could develop. But because Brock Purdy is there, they're betting on they only need spot starts or mop-up duty and stuff like that, that Purdy will be available when they truly need him so they can go to Sam Darnold.
Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says they didn't screw him. They paid him and it's not working out. This is pro sports, not Pop Warner. There's never been a quarterback drafted where Trey Lance has been drafted that got less starts in the NFL to prove themselves. He's gotten 4 starts, one of which he was out in the first quarter. Another one was in a monsoon. Okay. Johnny Manziel got 8 starts. That's twice as many as this. Jamarcus Russell got like 6 times as many. Sam Darnold has gotten 55 starts and he's been on 3 teams. Don't tell me they didn't screw him. Don't tell me it's not working out. You don't know that because nobody knows that. Mm-hmm. It's not an indictment on you. Nobody knows that yet. It's impossible to know at this point. Yet the 49ers are telling you they know.
See, I hate that mindset. Well, they paid you, so they can do whatever, right? Okay, go to work and have them treat you like crap and not allow you to do stuff and constantly pass you over for promotions that you deserve and you put the work in for and all these things and see how well you do. Wouldn't matter, right? Because they're still giving you a paycheck, right? As long as they pay you, they can do whatever they want to. No, get the hell out of here. Everybody wants to be respected when they go to work. Everybody wants a chance to show what they can do at work. Like, I hate that mentality. People want to pretend like football players and professional athletes are different because as long as they pay you, it's fine to sit there and never get to play. No, it's not. Just like you wouldn't want to show up to work in that same scenario.
And by the way, how spineless is it of Kyle Shanahan to have his press conference yesterday and sit there and say, oh, well, we're going to rotate him. And yeah, it could be different and all this stuff. He didn't know this was coming. Like, come on. No, man, that is weak. So he better give a press conference today. I swear to God, he better give a press conference.
He's not.
This is weak, man. This is some weak sauce. And you know what I want? I want to see Trey Lance. Trey Lance needs to speak up for himself now. Trey Lance needs to speak up and say, hey, this should never have happened. They screwed me. I think he knew. Levin, when he told Rich Eisen during the Super Bowl, all I want is a chance to compete. He knew he wasn't getting a chance to compete. He knew. And I hope he goes somewhere and gets a chance and gets to develop and go through the bumps and bruises. And I hope he comes back and sticks it up the 49ers ass. I really do, because they deserve it with this. This is insane.
Yeah. And Mike Silver just tweeted, translation, make me an offer, any offer.
Yeah. Like,
I can't believe that there is not a single offer out there for, like, nobody's willing to give up a 6th to 7th round pick. There's no way. If that is true, then there is some real racism going on, because there's no way somebody going number 3 overall, even if other teams only had him rated as like 15th on their board and they didn't have him as a top 5 pick. Okay, how many teams traded for Josh Rosen, right? He got traded and he had horrendous teammate stuff out there, right? People talked about how he didn't do film and that he was a jerk and he was arrogant and completely full of himself. He still got traded. And he was the 10th pick, by the way.
Keith Murphy is back, says most picks this high go to garbage development teams. This is an anomaly type situation.
Then don't take the project, right?
The 49ers treated it like it was some sort of new situation, but they butchered it. Again, it's not hard to develop a quarterback, right? You draft him, you play him, you work on his weaknesses, and it either works out or it doesn't. Like, that's the plan. That it's not hard to find out, I should say. It's not hard to find out if a guy can play. That's how you go. You draft him, you play him, and every decision you make has to be made to prop that guy up, to give that guy every single opportunity to succeed. The 49ers never did that with Trey Lance. They had the perfect situation for a rookie quarterback, surrounded by talent. Great play caller, incredible defense. There's no better situation for a rookie quarterback. That's what everybody said when he was drafted, and they never gave it to him. They took it away from him.
Right. That's the main issue here is they never committed. Like, you committed 3 first-round picks, but you never committed to the player. If you're going to trade, and even if you're just going to use a single first-round pick, right? You got to be committed to trying to see the development of that player out. And that's the issue. Not so much that Trey Lance just wasn't good enough. Maybe that's true. But they never even tried to see, right? That's the problem. If you're going to take a developmental quarterback, you have to give them the chance to develop. And they didn't. They made such it's illogical. You don't take the developmental quarterback and say, well, you can develop and never play. No. The one thing is he never had game experience. He didn't play much in college. You have to play that quarterback.
Look at what Mayoko is writing. This is such crap. And by the way, where's the 49ers press corps breaking this story, huh? Why is it Tom Pelissero? Again, 10 minutes after the fact, 49ers press corps chimes in. Oh, Source confirmed.
You know why?
Yeah, who's your source? Tom Pelissero?
You want to know my theory on that? Mayoko absolutely would have had that if this came from John Lynch or the front office. I think this is Trey Lance and his agent and his team. He is saying he got told he is number 3, right?
He said, screw it.
And he said, screw it. And he told his team, I want out. This is BS. I want out. And so his team went to national media because they know they can't trust the local media with it because the local media has had a bias and does whatever Kyle Shanahan wants anyways. So they went to the national media and said, put it out that he's number 3 and that they're looking at trade options.
Look at this crap from Mayoko. Sam Darnold seemingly won the backup job after a strong training camp. A strong training camp? Where the hell was it? Where was the strong training camp from Sam Darnold? He's led 1 scoring drive in the preseason. Okay. Where is the strong training camp? And look, his vast NFL experience, 55 starts, has given him an edge to fill a spot on the depth chart in which practice time is limited once the season begins. Just because he has 55 games of experience doesn't mean anything. His experience is bad. He has proven to be a bad quarterback, right. But none of it matters. None of it matters because Kyle Shanahan liked him when he was coming out in the draft. And that's all Kyle Shanahan cares about. He's hand-waving away all the struggles. I swear to God, I'd like to see Sam Darnold play. And when the 49ers lose, Kyle Shanahan can eat it, okay? Because he deserves it. He deserves it for this.
I think it should also be said that a little bit of blame goes to the players, right? The leaders in that locker room kept this Jimmy Garoppolo's team. They drew lines in the sand during Trey Lance's rookie year and said, we don't care that he scored touchdowns when he came in. That's unfair. We don't want to score touchdowns. We want to do right by Jimmy Garoppolo. They chose a quarterback and a player over results for the team. And Kyle Shanahan went along with it. And that's maybe the turning point. Like I said, it did seem like what Kyle's plan was is get him in favorable situations early. As his confidence builds, we'll make a change if Jimmy Garoppolo falters, right? And the vets went and said, stop it. We don't like it, even though he's scoring every single time he comes in. And shame on you, vets, and this is what you get. It just, that part bothers me, and that's why I have never looked at George Kittle the same, if I'm being honest. Like, I love when George Kittle's playing, but I guess I don't turn my back on him because I don't like how his mentality towards Jimmy Garoppolo. He literally had to be called out on national TV by Brock Purdy. Stop wearing Jimmy Garoppolo's shit, right?
It's like, think about this too. Kyle, first of all, Kyle's never been asked about that. 49ers press corps has never asked him about that, even though they all know it happened or they've all heard it happen. They've never asked him about that, which, what the hell is that? And shame on Kyle Shanahan. That's not a leader, okay? What did Jim Harbaugh do in 2011? When Alex Smith was playing 2012, excuse me, when Alex Smith was playing the best football of his career, he got hurt. He put Kaepernick in, and Harbaugh said, screw it. We're sticking with Kaepernick because we know what the ceiling is with Alex Smith because they saw it the year before in the NFC Championship game when he went 1 of 13 on third down, completed 1 pass to a wide receiver, and couldn't score against the Giants. And Harbaugh did it. And you know what? He said, I'm the leader of this team. I'm the head coach. It's my decision. Go pound sand if you don't like it. And 10 starts later, the 49ers were in the Super Bowl. Well, what did Kyle Shanahan do? He's always kowtowing. Debo said it at the Super Bowl. Kyle doesn't do anything without talking to us first. That's not a leader. And all you people that say players could tell. Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out. The team is worse off if they trade Trey Lance. Much worse off. And that's okay, apparently. Because Kyle knows best, right? And the players know best. And what the hell's the point of having a head coach if you're going to let the players make all the decisions anyway?
Right. So I want to be abundantly clear on one thing because I've seen some comments here. I said racism, not that Kyle is racist, and that's why he chose this. I said if no team is willing to trade anything out there, which is what some people are saying from the media, right? That there's no offers for Trey Lance. If there's not a single team willing to trade for him, there's only one reason for that. That wouldn't make any sense. There would never be another case like it in the NFL history that a quarterback who was drafted this highly, who got to play so little, but has glowing reports from the team in terms of work ethic, doesn't get a second chance. Right? There would only be one answer for that.
I'm stunned by this. I want to get to the super chats. I know there's a lot of them. I'm sorry. I have to get things off my chest, and I don't always want to let super chats dictate the entire show. Elliot said, "Can this be a way to save money to re-sign Ayuk or Bosa?" They didn't have to do this to re-sign Bosa. They didn't have to do this. Nick Ellert says, "We don't know. We can't evaluate the development process. We don't know if he couldn't develop behind closed doors. We can evaluate the trade as bad. You can't develop unless you play." I just tweeted this out yesterday. You can watch somebody drive a car all you want, but when you're on the highway driving 55 miles an hour, it's a hell of a lot different. I don't care how well you know the rules of the road. Yes, you can develop behind the scenes, but there is a point where sitting behind the scenes stops helping you. It doesn't give you anything more. You've learned all you can learn behind the scenes, and you got to get in and do it. And Trey never, ever did. And Keith Murphy says they committed to him, and then he broke his ankle. Then Brock balled out. It was a reach from day one. Fields was the pick. Jets and Niners botched it. So they committed to him. He gets hurt, and that's it. I mean,
why trade him now? Why didn't you trade him then at the beginning of the season? Brock balled out, right? He's the guy. Why'd you wait till now? Right? That's what to me, it was the 49ers saying, well, we don't want to trade him. We think there's still potential here. We just also don't really want to play him. So we're just going to hold on to him. And this is finally Trey Lance saying, F you, if you're not going to play me and you're going to bury me behind Sam effing Darnold, then I'm out and you can get effed, right? That's what that's what my read of the situation is that they wanted to hold on to Trey Lance because they think, hey, there's still potential here. We still see something here. We don't want to just get rid of him. And when they finally made the choice that, hey, you're not even the backup, Trey Lance said, okay, then I'm out and you can go screw yourself.
But even if that was the case, like the 49ers press corps could have broken that story too, but they didn't because they never break anything with the 49ers.
Would you trust this 49ers press corps to write an article that is for Trey Lance and not Kyle Shanahan, right?
No. I mean, well, Grant Cohn's been propping up Trey Lance. If there was one person on the press corps I would have gone to if I was Trey's people, it would have been him because he's been the only one defending him. And let me say this, by the way. Can we stop criticizing Mike Silver? Every time Mike Silver comes out with something people don't like, oh, he's got no sources with the 49ers. He's terrible. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He was dead on balls accurate with the arm fatigue, and he was dead accurate with Lance's future being up in the air and saying that they could just cut bait with Lance and get rid of him if they don't think he's one of the best quarterbacks on the roster. So we got to stop just ignoring messages that people in the know are sending us just because we don't like the messenger.
So what happens on Friday? If you know Trey Lance is out, do you even play him and risk injury?
They probably don't. They probably say Brandon Allen's our QB3, right? We got to get Brandon Allen reps. And now you know why Brandon Allen is still here, by the way. Now you know why Kyle Shanahan was getting Brandon Allen all those reps at the beginning of training camp. It wasn't because he was concerned about QB4. It's because he was concerned about QB3. like, look at what the team does and not what they say. We tell you again and again and again.
Yeah. I did see one person, it was a while ago. They threw out the possibility that if the price is low enough, do the Chiefs go out there and get him as a backup?
I don't maybe, but I'm more concerned about the 49ers. Kwana says, congrats, Trey. Get away from this team. Kyle Shanahan will be remembered for this and no trophy with this roster. Fans cheering about the 49ers ruining the situation because they hate Trey and it's okay. Think Brock Purdy is the GOAT. That's stupid.
The fans don't hate Trey, and that was proven beyond a doubt during the game last week.
The
there
cheer.
are some vocal people on Twitter and some vocal people here in this YouTube comment section, but they are the minority. They're just loud pricks who have decided that they don't like somebody who's never gotten to play. Like I hate that.
Did you see
I don't hate Purdy.
Right. Nobody hates Purdy.
You don't have to pick a side. I don't hate Sam Darnold. I think he's a fine backup. I just don't think that he's worth playing over Trey Lance in any scenario because he's never going to win anything. You know, backups suck. They're not good quarterbacks. If you have somebody that can go in and maybe be good for 1 week, you have a good backup, and that's what Sam Darnold is. But you're not going to be able to replace an injured quarterback and go win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. And that's where I draw the line.
I don't even think that is it possible for you to win a game? Yeah, but it's also possible for him to torpedo the game.
Right. That's why he's a backup. If it was
No.
likely that he could come in and win the game, he would be a starter. Because if it's likely that you can come in and win a game, you're a starting quarterback because that means you're going to be winning 9, 10, 11 games because likely means you win more than you lose, right?
I think that backup quarterbacks should never lose you the game, but they just aren't necessarily capable of winning it on their own. That's what you should want in a backup quarterback. You should never have a backup quarterback on their team that could torpedo and tank a game for you. Cinnamon Kiss, shout out to you, YouTube channel member. Become a YouTube channel member for less than $3 a month. You get priority comment response, custom emojis, and membership badges. Cinnamon says, my African-American non-49er fans think the Niners are cursed for what they did to Colin Kaepernick. I mean, this team has not handled the quarterback situation well since Steve Young. Let's be honest. They have not done right at this position for a very, very long time, which is part of the reason why we're so frustrated.
One, I don't really believe in curses and superstition. You know that. But did they really do wrong by Colin Kaepernick? Right?
Yeah, I think they did.
This could have been the Dallas Cowboys where Jerry Jones said I wouldn't let him out of the locker room. They let him do his thing, and they still played him.
No. I'm saying, like, so they had Harbaugh, right, and this great team around him. And then 2014, they go 8-8. They fire the head coach. They bring in one of the worst coaching staffs we've ever seen in the NFL, and they put nothing around. I was just talking football.
I take a comment like this to be about the political stuff and how he got blackballed and all that. That's not on the 49ers. Like, they went out. They did find him an opportunity. You know, now John Elway was being a prick and way lowballed him, gave him like below average backup money. No, they wanted to renegotiate his deal or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact details.
They wanted him to take a pay cut, and he didn't.
Yeah, and the amount of the pay cut was going to be below the average backup money. It was insane. It was a BS offer that I think John Elway did under order of the NFL so that they could try to make the argument, see he had an opportunity, which they did try to make that for a few years until it became abundantly clear, no, you guys blackballed him. And then he won a lawsuit, right? But I take that comment to be more about what happened to Kaepernick, and then he never got an opportunity again. Remember, the Niners didn't get rid of him. Colin Kaepernick asked out. He wanted out of San Francisco.
Now, they were going to cut him anyway if he did that.
But to me, I don't think the Niners did super wrong by Colin Kaepernick. They let him do his thing, and they still played him. They didn't punish him in any way for doing it. A lot of the teams would have either punished him, by not playing him, or simply not allowed it. Right.
Well, yeah, I wasn't talking about the anthem stuff.
I know.
Yeah. I was talking about the other side of it. And I should say that Trey Lance hasn't been traded, right? The tweet from Pelissero says that they are exploring all options.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, what are the options? Exploring all options means that they may cut him, right? Because it didn't say exploring a trade. The only other option, the options are keeping him, which you don't need to have a tweet announcing that the 49ers may keep Trey Lance. You don't need that. The options are trade or release. So I said it months ago that the last time we were going to see Trey Lance on the field in a regular season game for the 49ers was when he got carted off week 2 against the Seahawks. And it looks like that's going to be true. Is he on the roster week 1 in Pittsburgh? I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he shows up. I think we're under a scenario that he is asked out and he's not going to show up. He's not going to do you any favors. He's not going to risk injury and being stuck, right? I wouldn't think so.
This is unbelievable how they have bungled and butchered this thing.
The weird thing is it could still work out. It could still be roses because Brock Purdy could be the real deal and they win the Super Bowl this year. True. And everybody goes, Kyle Shanahan's one of the greats, right? And all of this moves on, right?
No, see, I think
they did mess this up. There's no argument saying that they didn't mess this up, but this could become an afterthought, right? This could become a side note.
I think this stays on Kyle Shanahan's football tombstone forever. Forever. Even if he wins a Super Bowl, they still butchered this situation. They butchered it. You don't trade 3 first-round picks plus a third-round pick for a guy that you get 4 starts out of in 3 years. That's butchered. Butchered. And the fact that Kyle Shanahan is good at other stuff that has allowed them to continue to win doesn't change the fact that they screwed this up big time.
Yeah.
You're not listening to me, are you?
I am. They screwed it up. What else do you want me to say? They screwed it up big time. There is no argument to say they didn't screw it up, and it got screwed up because they didn't play him year one, right? If you play him year one and it's a train wreck, hey, right?
Yep.
If you play him year one and 8 games in, he still looks like crap, you go back to Jimmy. Guess what? They didn't start out well that year anyways.
Right. That's the wild part about all of this. Like the shakiness that you had to avoid by not playing Trey Lance occurred anyway. It occurred anyway in back-to-back seasons, right? It occurred in 2021 when they were 3-5, and the next year they were 3-4.
Wait. Hold on. Somebody, where's this from? He needs to tell us where this is from. Oh, you got it. In a major development at 49ers training camp, QB Trey Lance is not on the practice field. So is Trey Lance officially saying F you, I'm not showing up?
Well, hold on. I haven't seen that.
It's got a quotation. So can you post telling us the source on that one, please?
Don't just throw it up on the screen wildly if you don't know. Oh,
it's got quotes. I'm asking him to tell us.
It's Barrows. Trey Lance is notably missing from today's practice. We'll try and get an explanation after practice. Source says the Niners are considering all options with the number 3. It's over. As I said to start this, it's over. Mike Silver wrote his football epitaph, his football obituary earlier this season, and now we got the official news that it's over with Trey Lance and the Niners.
The fact that Trey Lance is not there today means this is 100% his team.
Playing on Friday.
This is his agent and his team going out and saying, we're done. This means Kyle Shanahan broke the news probably last night or this morning saying, hey, you're going to be QB3 to start the season. Doesn't mean we don't believe in you or whatever, however Kyle Shanahan put it. And Trey Lance said, oh, yeah, and gave him the double fingers and walked out.
Yep. And you know what? Good for Trey Lance. Good for him.
I think Trey Lance played this the only way I think he could. If he came out during the draft and said, F this, trade me, that would have looked bad, right? Hey, he doesn't even want to compete. He doesn't trust himself. He doesn't think he can win the job, right? That would have been how that got framed. He had to be quiet. He had to bide his time until Kyle Shanahan made his decision.
He knew. He knew in February he wasn't going to get a fair shot. He plays the best he's played at the end of the game on Saturday, and they're not even going to wait till the end of the 3rd preseason game to pick a backup quarterback. There is one for sure thing that comes from this. I'm never buying another NFL jersey again. Period. Well,
ever.
Just the fact that he said all he wanted was a chance to compete. And they're not even waiting. They're not even going to give him the chance to finish competing in the 3rd preseason game. That's absurd. It is absurd.
I think that's more on Trey, but yeah.
No, because I think he got told yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing. Kyle just said yesterday, we're not even going to name a backup quarterback until before week 1 at Pittsburgh. Right. And now we're days away from the 3rd preseason game against the Chargers. And nope. All of a sudden, it's Sam. You want to know why? Because Kyle was afraid Sam would go shit to bed against the Chargers, and then he couldn't name Sam QB2, so he's doing it now.
I don't know how much it's that, but from the practices, it became clear, right? Sam Darnold kept getting second-team reps. And by the way, Sam Darnold threw a pick yesterday and didn't have a touchdown, while Trey Lance had, I think, a rushing and a throwing touchdown in his limited reps. So you can't even sit here and say, oh, well, Sam Darnold has continued to look better in practice. No. If you look at the numbers from training camp, they're mostly even a slight edge to Trey Lance. Not that I put a lot of weight on those, but it's also clear from the preseason games that they're pretty darn even, right? And Trey Lance has the potential to become a lot better, right? If he could get rid of the first 2 series jitters that you clearly see him have both times out in the preseason, he's looking phenomenal. Now, he's had those, and maybe that's the real him, and he's never going to be able to get rid of those, and he has to play like crap for a couple series before he settles in, right? But the simple fact is that's more likely to go away when you play. Sam Darnold is not likely to improve. If he hasn't improved at this point with Kyle Shanahan, he's not going to. He's played enough.
It's so hilarious to me. Sam Darnold is really good. right? That's what the Panthers said. We think he's really good. 3rd overall pick. He's got arm talent. He gets to the Panthers. He immediately loses his job to Baker Mayfield the following season, right? Then he gets signed by the 49ers. Oh, he's going to be so much better. He's going to be so much better in Kyle's system with guys around him. Then he has all training camp. He doesn't look like anything special whatsoever. No, but once he gets into the games, he's going to look better. Then he gets into the games, and he can't lead the team on a friggin' touchdown drive. He's got one scoring drive in the entire preseason against 2s and 3s, even when he's working with essentially the starting offensive line, and yet people are still telling me, no, just wait. Just wait. Once he gets in there in a regular season game with every single starter in Kyle Shanahan's system, then he'll be good, right? It's always just, no, wait. Just wait. Just 56 games. Just 60 games. Just 60 games in the perfect system when nobody's hurt. Stop it. Stop the madness, okay? Stop the madness. Yeah, this is the route the 49ers have chosen. And now Trey's not at practice. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be, oh, Trey didn't handle the situation right. Trey wasn't professional. They're leaking this that, like they're going to try to make Trey Lance look like the bad guy in this thing.
So Trey Lance not showing up today. I wonder if he's trying to force the hand that of trade me or release me, right? He doesn't want to just sit and play nice to where they can go, well, we're still looking and it takes forever, right? Because if he gets released, there will be a lot of teams that come, right? Because now he doesn't have that big cap hit next year, right? I think his cap hit's like 16 million or something like that next year, right? So if he gets released, there's going to be a laundry list of teams coming. But I do want to throw it out there once again. Mike White, the guy with the highest interception percentage in the NFL over the last couple seasons with at least 300 attempts, is the backup in Miami. That's not a good backup, right? What did Mike McDaniels think of Trey Lance? Because he was here when he was drafted and then left, right? If he has a high opinion of him, it would make a lot of sense considering how much they've gone all in, right? They certainly seem like a team that could be a surprise, not even that much of a surprise, Super Bowl contender, right? Yet they have an injury-prone quarterback. So why not bring in Trey Lance to be behind Tua to give you insurance?
Boy, that would be the capper on the shit Sunday. Because guess who?
That would be the capper on the McDaniels and Shanahan split, right?
But listen. Who did the 49ers trade all those picks to move up to number 3? The Dolphins.
Right.
The Dolphins would get the 3 firsts, a 3rd, and then end up with Trey Lance anyway. That is the perfect ending to this story, right? That's how it has to end. It has to end with that.
You do have to wonder. I mean, like we listened to that. What was the show called? QB
Play Callers.
Yeah, the Play Callers podcast series. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of love from Mike McDaniels to Kyle Shanahan. So does he go out? Mike McDaniels to Kyle Shanahan. Does he go out and get Trey Lance just to give him the chance of like sticking it to him? Right.
Clearly, McDaniel feels like he was taken advantage of by Kyle. That would just be the ultimate ending. Quana's back says, what happens if Lance actually does play somewhere this year and looks good? Like good. What does that mean? Really means a lot. Well, not necessarily. That would still make Kyle look bad, but it needs to be coupled with the 49ers not winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
If the Niners win a Super Bowl, even if Trey Lance looks great, it doesn't really hurt the Niners that much because they won the Super Bowl.
I will go further than that. If the Niners make the Super Bowl, that's the same scenario. If the Niners make the NFC Championship and Purdy looks good, Purdy looks like a franchise quarterback, there won't be super heavy criticism for it, right? If Purdy looks like a franchise quarterback, teams will go, well, yeah, Trey Lance looks good, but it's not like they made a bad choice. Purdy's his franchise quarterback, right? So that will insulate him some, right? He'll still get some criticism, but not a ton, right? As long as Purdy looks like a franchise quarterback. It's if Purdy looks limited and they lose in the playoffs because Brock Purdy looks like a Jimmy Garoppolo or just has a bad game, or Brock Purdy simply has a bad season and Trey Lance looks good, then it's going to be no holds barred people coming for Kyle Shanahan on that one.
Man, and I agree with this from Dynamite Dave. It's all a Purdy now. Yeah. Win the Super Bowl or nothing. And how about the pressure on Brock Purdy right now, right? Holy crap. Hey, Brock, sure we know you're coming back from this devastating injury. Sure we know you've only played 8 games. Sure we know you have no experience, but you better win a damn Super Bowl right now. Like you are out of the frying pan and into the fire. There's a ton of pressure on Brock Purdy.
Yeah, he's the real deal. See, I hate comments like Purdy will lose in the playoffs. Keep the same energy in January. I didn't say he will. I say if that happens and Trey Lance looks good wherever he goes, that means Kyle Shanahan's going to get a lot of criticism. I want the Niners to win. Hello, look at my hat. Look at my background. I'm not rooting against the Niners, but we're talking about theoretical situations, not situations we're rooting for, not situations that we even think will definitely happen. Just theoretical situations that could happen and what it means if it does.
Christopher Credo, sorry I missed the super chat before. Week 1 is coming. Pittsburgh just picked off Matt Barkley 3 times and hurt his elbow last weekend. Oh boy. Sorry about that, Christopher. I didn't mean to miss the super chat. I just can't believe that this is happening. Even though I said it would happen, like, it's still happening, and I'm still kind of in a state of disbelief. I didn't think they'd be this crazy and this just illogical and nonsensical. And yet, because of what they have said and their actions, it was easy to see the writing on the wall. And here we are, Levin. Matt Mayoko tweeted in a major development at 49ers practice. Trey Lance is not on the practice field. I feel like that's the start of them trying to pin this on Trey. I really do. I feel like they're going to make it seem like he's not.
Well, the media, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see the team. The team has it's 100% Trey Lance said, "F you, I'm gone." Right. I don't think that I could say that with very, very high probability at this point. Right. That this news broke because Trey Lance knew he's done. He's not risking injury by showing up to practice and playing for this team anymore. So it's not a coincidence, the timing of this. The news broke an hour before practice starts. And Trey Lance isn't at practice. That confirms that this is Trey Lance's team that put the breaking news out, right? That he's number 3.
Well, here's the other thing, right? Let's say nobody wants to trade for him. How do you come back from this if you're Trey Lance, the Niners? Like, you can't, right? There's no going
That's why
back.
I'm saying he's making the case to trade me or release me. If nobody wants me in trade, let me the hell out of here.
Yep, that I'm done.
Right.
And like we've crossed the Rubicon. I mean, how's he going to go back into the locker room? You know, they're going to be like, dude, what the hell?
His locker is cleaned out. I would bet that locker is cleaned out.
It is.
That locker got cleaned out last night or this morning in preparation.
We need to hear from 49ers leadership. I don't want to hear from Chris Forster today. Okay. Sorry. I don't care if it's his scheduled day. Where's the leadership in the locker room? Lynch, Shanahan, York, somebody.
Lynch needs to show up.
It should be Kyle. Kyle hired Lynch. Kyle is the 49ers.
I know, but this is a trade scenario, so it's front office stuff. Now, Kyle can show up, and that's probably good enough, but Lynch should be there. It should be both of them. Hell, I would argue it should be Jed York, right? This is hey, we look really bad in this scenario. Owner needs to come in, right? A lot of times the owner comes in, takes the heat, so that it's not on the front office and it's not on the coach, right? This is one of those scenarios that Jed should be coming. Now, Jed probably won't. Why? Because he has his own problems right now.
Yeah, right. Multiple. Boy, what a disaster.
I can guarantee there are some national media scrambling to get to the 49ers press conference today, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if the national media is there and Jed York shows up, there will be at least one question about that.
Yeah, we'll see. But all of a sudden, nobody cares about the Bosa holdout anymore, right? We took no headlines there. We got rid of that. Now it's all what the hell is happening with Trey Lance and the quarterback system. And look, like you said, and we've said it this show, but for people that were just joining or whatever, there is clearly a path where Brock Purdy's healthy and plays well, and the Niners win, and it's fine.
And that's the path we're both hoping for.
Even though this process with Niners and Lance has been horrible and butchered, even with that terrible process, that is separate from what happens with the team this year. So this could all work out for them. We thought, what did we say when Trey Lance got drafted, right? They better be right on Trey Lance, because if they're wrong on Trey Lance, they're screwed because they're going to lose a bunch of games. And guess what? They never found out if they were right or wrong about Trey Lance, but they've still won a bunch of games. So it's not unprecedented for this 49ers front office to thread the needle. But even if they do, it doesn't change the fact that they butchered this whole scenario. And now we just have to wait and see, how it plays out. All of a sudden, I feel like content creation just got a lot more calm because Trey Lance is going to be gone off this team before week 1.
There's no more arguing, right? Of who should be where. It's known. Let me throw this one up because I tweeted something out yesterday, and I think you'll like it because Michelle's the high person on Justin Fields, and you talk about it. Justin Fields, guess who has the highest interception percentage with at least 350 attempts since that draft? Justin Fields. Guess how far above he is everybody else? He's at 3.6%. The next closest, second worst on that list, is 2.9. The difference between second and 19th is the same as second to Justin Fields. And oh, by the way, he has more than one fumble per game, which is the highest amount. He's the only one that has more fumbles than games played, with at least 20 starts currently active in the NFL. So Justin Fields hasn't proven crap yet. He has the highest interception percentage. He only passed for 2,000 yards when he was the starter all year, and he fumbles more than anybody else in the NFL. So he hasn't proven to be some slam dunk, and he's certainly not the type of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan would have liked, right?
Don't you know, Levin? It's just because there was bad people around him. He just needs a better team around him and a better coaching staff, right? That apparently will fix every quarterback except Trey Lance.
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous. Oh, this is brutal, man. We better hear from the 49ers today. We had better hear from John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, or Jed York. And I don't really think it's going to be Jed York, because Jed York he's the owner. Like, it's got to be Kyle or John. It really needs to be. If Jed wants to be there in addition to them, fine. It's got to be one of them.
And you know what we better see if Kyle Shanahan shows up? Them hammering on him to get a freaking timeline. How did it go down? Did you tell Trey Lance last night that he was number 3, right? Make it a yes or no. Did you tell Trey Lance he was number 3? That's a yes or no answer, right? And if he says yes, then you're able to follow that up with, did Trey Lance request a trade, or how did Trey Lance take it, or something along those lines, to try to get a timeline of, okay, you told Trey Lance he's number 3. Trey Lance said, I'm out, right? You got to back him into a corner. That needs to be answered. If you let him off the hook in this, I'll have so little respect for that media. Like, I still have a decent amount of respect. I think Mayoko and Barrows and all those guys, I think they do a good job. I think they just need a little more willingness to criticize, right? Willingness to ask the questions and back coaches and GMs into a corner. I think they report, they write well, all that. I do have a decent amount of respect for them. But if they don't do it on this is a big deal. You need to be a real reporter here and not do what Kyle Shanahan wants.
Clear, Kyle, did you tell Trey he was QB3 last night? Why did you tell us you were going to rotate your QB3 if you were going to name Darnold QB2? And look, maybe they were still planning on that, and once Trey found out he wasn't immediately QB2, he asked out. That's possible. But if that's the case, then Kyle needs to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if they cut Trey Lance, because I see the super chat there from Elliot, does releasing Trey Lance free up cap room for Ayuk? They saw enough and decided signing Ayuk was more important than developing Lance. Think about that. Signing a wide receiver is more important than potentially developing a franchise quarterback. It's a dead cap. What is the dead cap hit? $9.3 million, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hang on.
I don't think they save anything this year. I can't remember.
No, I think it costs them money. It costs them $10 million, I believe.
I think it costs them a little bit of money this year, but then next year he's off the books, I believe.
Yeah, that's how it would. Yeah, it would cost them money this year.
Right.
I just want to double check this because I don't want to get it wrong. Trey Lance, dead cap hit. This would be a post June 1. So let me just change the option there. Is it dead cap? Is it 5 million? No, I'm sorry. I thought I saw 10 million, but I can't really, it's not coming up right now. I apologize for that, but I think it costs a $10 million cap. I know they take a cap hit if they release him, because we've been saying all off season,
right,
they're not going to do that because it costs them money. So it doesn't make sense. They might as well keep him because of his skill and because of the injury history there.
Right. Yeah. So if they cut him this year, it goes up to 14.6. It costs them an extra 5.3 million this year, but then I think he's off the books next year.
Unreal. I want to know, how did this come up? What did Trey say when you named him QB3? Are you going to trade him? Because again, we don't know. What do you want for him? I mean, they probably won't ask that, and Kyle's probably not going to answer it, and I kind of get that. But we need answers on this situation. Do you think you did everything right to develop Trey Lance? Do you think you gave Trey Lance the best chance to flourish here with the 49ers? Ask him that too. Like,
There is significant savings if they trade him versus they release him. If they release him, it is 14.6 million cap hit this year. If they trade him, it's only 5.5, right? So they actually save a little bit of money this year if they trade him. Looks like 3.76 if they trade him, and it costs them 5.3 if they release him. That's this year. So the difference, it's about a $9 million swing this year's cap versus trading him or releasing him. So even if a team only offers a seventh and that's all they can get, they will trade him. In fact, I would go as far as to say $9 million is enough to where the Niners would trade a pick if nobody was willing to trade anything.
Sure, let's give another pick away.
I think somebody will offer something, but if nobody offered anything, I think the Niners would say, hey, we'll give you a sixth if you give us a seventh, right?
What a disaster. And Randall, lazy television, just wait. Your Sam D will show you what he's made of. Okay, so Randall is criticizing Sam Darnold. Sorry, because some people that support Sam Darnold say the same thing. We better pray. We better pray to God that put Brock Purdy in bubble wrap, man. I don't want to see Brock Purdy in the third preseason game anymore. I don't. Nope. Because if we're one play away from Sam Darnold, then hell no. Then protect Brock Purdy. Chris Maldonado, YouTube channel member. I'll just say this and be out because I got to work, but they did trade dirty. They did him foul, and that's all facts. 100. Also, much love and respect to Robin Levin. Thank you, Chris. Always appreciate the love. And Alex Back, another YouTube channel member. 2024 Kirk. Yup.
That's the fallback.
Yep. That's their fallback, right?
If Purdy gets hurt or Purdy isn't good enough, they're going Kirk. Especially
because Darnold will be off the books. Trey will be off the books. Brock is cheap. So they can afford to pay Kirk Cousins in free agency, which is probably what will happen. Keith Murphy is back. It was illogical and nonsensical to trade 3 first-round picks in the first place for an unproven product. If you want to make that argument, okay. I won't fight you too bad. I kind of disagree, but I don't think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's illogical to do that and then not be committed to the player. That's right. If you're doing that and taking an unproven product, which I mean, every draft pick's unproven, but I know what you're getting at there, that he played so little. He only had, 300 attempts or whatever in college. If you're doing that, you have to play him for better or worse for at least the first year. And if he's a train wreck, then you move on. But doing that and then not committing to that player and keeping the guy that's seen as the leader in that locker room to start over him meant it was doomed from the start.
There is a reason that I was screaming about this for so long. It's because of this exact scenario. And by the way, Ian Rappaport just tweeted, as the 49ers weigh options for Trey Lance, calling his hometown team the Vikings, who were a rumored destination before the draft, makes sense. Nothing is impossible. Minnesota has a backup in Nick Mullins and drafted a rookie quarterback in Jaron Hall. Post-draft, these deals are harder.
Yeah, but
trade for Kirk. Do it, Lance.
They can't trade for Kirk, but it is. I don't think it would be lost on Minnesota that Kirk is, a free agent after this year, right? So why not bring in Trey Lance, give him the backup role, and you can see him in practice every day. Now, the issue I think they might have a hard time trading him just because whatever team trades him is now on the book for that bigger cap hit next year, right? And I don't know too many teams are going to be willing to take that and then pay him all that money next year, right? They want him as a starter. I think if a team has an injury to their starter, a team will come calling. Hey, give it, because then they can see what he can do this year, right? But it is a big cap hit next year, and I don't know too many teams are going to be wanting to do that. Bring him in this late in the game where he's going to be behind the 8 ball. He's not going to be able to learn the offense well enough this year, right? He's going to be, I would guess he's a quarterback that takes longer to learn a playbook to begin with because he is so inexperienced, right? So you're talking about he's not going to probably play this year if you bring him in as everything stands. Every team has their starter, right? So now you're paying him, $15 million to figure out if he's anything, right, next year. I don't know too many teams that are going to be wanting to take a 1-year gamble on a guy that his original team is out of for $15 million, right? I don't know.
I can't believe
in the draft. Yeah, because teams can set their salary cap around it, right? They can make decisions. But at this point, teams have their quarterback room And unless a team is just way out on what they're seeing, they're not going to take that, give up a draft pick to commit themselves to a high cap hit next year for somebody that might not be the starter.
I got to address this from Archangel. I hope all the Trey truthers leave after this. You're not 49ers fans anyway. That is so. I am really sick and tired of 49er fans accusing other 49ers fans of not being real fans because they have opinions that are different from theirs. Okay. I'm freaking tired of it, man. If you like, that's not how it works. You can criticize a team. You can dislike things that they do. It doesn't invalidate your fandom. I mean, my God, why are we doing this to each other? Why are we doing this to each other? It drives me nuts, man. You disagree with something a team does, you're not a true fan. You want a team to try and develop a quarterback they gave up a king's ransom to get, you're not a true fan, apparently.
So all of the people that were on the Sean Hill boat can't be fans anymore, right? All the people that were calling for David Carr can't be fans anymore. All the people that were in favor of Alex Smith getting his job back from Colin Kaepernick can't be fans anymore because the team moved on, right? That's not the way the team went. So you can't be fans because you were on the wrong side, right? If that was true, there would be about 100 people that were fans of the 49ers because there's been so much quarterback turmoil for the past 20 years. Every single person has been on the wrong side one time or another.
I was on the wrong side in 2012. I was worried that Kaepernick was going to throw a bunch of picks. And in my mind, it was the one thing that can sink this team is turnovers. So I wanted Alex Smith to stay in there because he wasn't turning the ball over. And I was wrong. I was 1,000% wrong. And I'm willing to admit it when
That's
I'm
not
wrong.
shocking, right?
But you can't, shut up. You can't tell me that the 49ers were just wrong on Trey Lance and that he can't play because there's no possible way they could have known. He's only played 4 games. W. Holden 39 says, price gouging alert. They're raising prices on Brandon Allen jerseys. Guess I'll only buy one. Don't do it. Don't buy the jersey. I'm telling you, don't buy anybody's jersey on this team. Don't.
I'm done. I will never, ever buy a jersey again. I stopped buying jerseys because I bought a Patrick Willis one and he early retired 2 years later, right? I have problem with spending that much money on something and you don't know the person's going to be around. Now, when I was younger, I wore jerseys all the time, and I don't wear them as much now as an adult, obviously. But I bought a Trey Lance jersey, first one in like a decade, and this is how it went. Like, it's just not worth it to me, right?
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me. I will buy jersey shirts. I have a Kittle jersey shirt. I'm just not going to spend $100, $150 on something that I don't know I'm going to get my money out of.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy a hat, but there's a reason why I have like literally 20 hats. So
JJ00, we're fans, not fortune tellers. Exactly right. Brooks Schoenfield says, you can disagree, but you've said you're cheering for Lance over the 49ers. No, I have not. I never said that. Get it right. Don't put words in my mouth. What I said was I was rooting for Trey over Brock in the preseason. And I also said the second the season starts, and if Brock's the starter, I will be cheering 100% for Brock Purdy. So don't put words in my mouth and accuse me of things that aren't true here. Like, let's stop this. Again, I'm tired of having to try and pass a 49ers loyalty test because I do this show and I'm critical of the team. No, if you're going to try and quote me on stuff, that's fine, but get it right. Okay. Let's be accurate with what I said. I never said I was cheering for Lance over the 49ers. So stop.
Well, I mean, according to some, you can't even be a real fan unless you're in San Francisco, right?
Right. Yeah. Can't be a real fan unless you've seen the 49ers play live and in person. Oh, there's a super chat here that I didn't get to from Chris. And shout out to Chris, by the way, who had a massive super chat donation earlier today. So, Chris, we appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Something had to have happened, not football related. Refuse to believe they deemed Darnold better based on ability. Something happened we don't know. No, I think we know what happened. It's that Kyle always loved Sam coming out of USC, and that's all that matters to him. And I said this with Grant. Kyle just said with Anthony Miller, who they signed, he didn't even see him work out. He liked him coming out of the draft. He didn't go to the workout. He heard he had a good workout and he liked him coming out of the draft. So they signed him. That's how Kyle operates. That's how he works.
Which is why it would be odd if there was no Trey Lance taker, right? Because he's not alone in thinking that. Head coaches think that. GMs think that. Hey, we really like this guy coming out. We should, roll the dice on him, right? That happens all the time, especially with first round picks, especially with top 5 picks. So there's got to be multiple teams out there that think, oh, hey, we really liked Trey Lance. We had a high grade on him. Why don't we bring him in and see what he can do? Tennessee is another possible destination for obvious reasons.
How about this from Tim Kawakami, who tweeted out, someone said, I can't wait to see Kyle's news conference. Kawakami said, no Shanahan media scheduled today, which is another reason why it might have come out today. Man, I don't know how it's like people are saying this is from Lance's side and we've said it and I agree, but like, I don't know how you come back from this. So they have to cut him. I think they have to cut him if they can't.
I think if what happens if no trade comes by regular season, Trey's team will start playing the media game. We'll start trashing Kyle and talking about different things and get nasty to try to get him released. Make it to where, or he'll say, all right, you didn't trade me. I'm showing back up. And he's going to show back up into that locker room and play that, I think that would be a bluff, but he could say, oh, you're not going to trade me? Okay, well, I'm showing up so I don't get fined. So I'm going to be there and I'm going to be in practice and you have to give me a fair shot because the Players Association's union, right? So you can't just say you're not allowed to practice, right? Because that has happened, by the way. People have showed up when they're in a dispute with the team and the team said, you're excused. And then that player filed a grievance because you have to allow them to practice.
Yes, you can't stop them from practicing. I forget who that was.
I can't remember who it was. It was just a few years ago. But that is the final step, right? If the 49ers don't trade him, I'm guessing Trey Lance will start showing up in order to not get fined. And the team won't want that because it's going to be bad for that locker room. So they're going to be forced to act.
This could get ugly. It could get uglier from here. Lazy Television says, just mention Sam's name and Stats has a brain aneurysm. Then he scolds people for hating Lance truthers. What a hypocrite man-child. This other guy is basing quarterback decisions on what $100 jersey he bought. First of all, jerseys are a lot more expensive than $100. Second of all, I get crazy about Sam Darnold because people keep trying to tell me Sam Darnold is good when we have seen him play. And they keep peeing on my leg and telling me it's raining. And I said this last night on Twitter. If Trey Lance was not on the team, and we'll find out because he ain't going to be on the team, I'm still railing against Sam Darnold. Brandon Allen should be QB2. Sam Darnold can't play dead in a cowboy movie. It has nothing to do with Trey Lance. Darnold was never good. He should never be on this team. So it's separate from that, okay? Because people keep telling me he's good, and we've seen him for half a decade now. If any other player, if I picked out a 5-year span of their career and said, is this person good? People would say no. But because he's now wearing the 49ers red, 49ers fans are trying to cope and tell me that he's good when he's not. And if any other team had signed Sam Darnold, the Cardinals, the Rams, we'd be laughing at them, laughing hysterically. But we don't do that because he's got our team's colors on.
I just like that he somehow took from everything I said that I based my quarterback decision on buying a jersey. Because, that's anything in the realm that I said. I bought his jersey, by the way, 6 months prior to him getting drafted when I tweeted out that the 49ers should draft him. I somehow got his jersey way back when, right?
Brooks says, if Darnold plays, are you cheering for his success? I will be happy if he succeeds. Of course, because I'm a 49ers fan. I want the 49ers to succeed. I never said I would cheer against Sam Darnold if he played. If he plays, I don't think he's going to do well. Those are two different things. I know that might be hard for some people to grasp, but damn. And no, Tab, I don't dislike Sam Darnold. As a person, he's a good person. From everything we've heard, he seems to be a fine person. I don't know Sam Darnold, so I'm assuming he's a fine person. This is not about him as a human being. It's about him as a football player, and he's not a good football player. And that is not subjective. That is objective.
I mean, it's true. From what we have seen, the evidence that he has put out there, which is significant, it's 4+ seasons worth of evidence, he is not good. Now, is he a decent backup? That's where I think we disagree. I think he's a decent backup because backups suck in this league. And he's at least capable of doing something every once in a while. And if you have that in a backup, you have a decent backup. But he's not a starter. He's not somebody you can win in the playoffs with. He's not a good quarterback. He's not somebody that has the potential to suddenly be good. He's not going to be the one-of-one Alex Smith, coming again. Alex Smith is one of one. He's the only person that's ever done that. That has been bad for multiple years and suddenly gets a new coach and becomes great, right?
No, he wasn't great. Alex Smith was not even good for the 49ers. He was okay for the Chiefs. For the 49ers, no Pro Bowls, no nothing. Like, we got to stop with that. Like, Alex Smith was this great quarterback with the 49ers. He wasn't. He was just better than he was before Jim Harbaugh got there. That's it. He averaged 1.2 touchdowns a game with Jim Harbaugh as his quarterback. Is that great? No.
He was a game manager with the Niners.
Yeah. Like, oh man. It's wild to me. I'm trying to see some other tweets and stuff. I haven't seen too many updates to the situation. I just think it's wild to me that the 49ers are taking a small sample from Brock Purdy and just eliminating all sort of parachutes for him. And they're looking at a small sample from Sam Darnold, in which he didn't even play that great in all 6 of those games, by the way, one of which he was 5 of 15 for 43 yards with 2 picks and 2 fumbles. And they're saying, yep, that's evidence that he's better. Yep, that's all the evidence we need. 5-6 games. That's it for the 49ers, right? That's all we need. Yeah, for some reason, they kept bringing Jimmy Garoppolo back after all those games. Like, it's not logical. It's not consistent. And that's what I want for my team and my leadership. Just give me logic and consistency. And if you have one, you usually get the other.
Yeah, sort of. Not always. It's possible. I don't necessarily agree that you always get the other.
Well, if you're logical, you'll get consistency. I guess if you're consistent, you don't always get logic. That's true.
Yeah.
I want to go back to this. Lazy Television says, thanks for proving my point, idiot. Sam cuts the interceptions and has the best turnover percentage on the team. As the more talented player and Purdy throwing picks daily, what do you think is going to happen? So you're basing this off of preseason, right? That's what you're telling me? You're telling me that they're basing this off preseason. Okay, except Sam Darnold has only led the team to 1 scoring drive. 1 in the entire preseason, playing against scrubs, okay? Playing against scrubs. 1 scoring drive. There have been 3 turnovers on drives that Sam has played in the preseason. And I get not all those are his fault. He hit a receiver in the hands. He hit Ronnie Bell in the head and Cameron Latu fumbled. But the fact is, and there was 1 turnover on downs. Those are the facts. They've punted twice. They have 1 scoring drive in 8 drives this preseason. If Sam Darnold is so good and his arm is so good and he's got all this experience, why can't he score? Why can't he lead the offense to a touchdown? Why? What's the excuse this time? Why isn't it Sam Darnold's fault this time?
There's no answer to that.
It's incredible to me. It is incredible to me.
Let's just hope Purdy's the real deal. Because like I said, if Purdy's the real deal, I would argue everything's kosher, right?
Oh,
it will, part of me will always look and be like, darn, because, I was a big Trey Lance fan, having been in North Dakota when he played at North Dakota State. But if Purdy is the real deal, I'll forget about it. I'll move on. Like, this team winning is all I care about. So
I will never forget how they butchered this thing. Brother Bob, better win the Super Bowl with quarterbacks and Shaky Moody or bye-bye Kyle. That's the other thing, right? Super Bowl window, yet they're going with a rookie kicker, which you illustrated conclusively on our website, goldstandardniners.com, is a terrible decision because even the best kickers were not good as rookies. Yet, again, the 49ers are saying, forget what we've seen, right? We know better. That's what they're telling you.
Yeah. Like I said, when we were doing our free agency preview, I wanted to sign Matt Gay. That was my target because he's one of the most accurate kickers the last couple of years. He can hit long field goals. To me, it's one of those things I don't understand why teams don't go sign the quality veterans more, because when you look at it in a points result, it's 100% worth the money. The top kickers are getting $5 million, right? I think it's pushed up to like 5.5 now, but $5 million. Okay. The top kickers are making 90% of their kicks. A below average rookie will hit 75%. So you're talking about a difference of 15% of field goals. Well, they tend to have 2 field goals a game, right? So now you're talking about a third of a field goal a game on average more they make because they're a top kicker in the league. That's 1 point a game. Do you know how much 1 point a game is worth in swinging things, it's extremely, extremely valuable when you talk about actual results. 1 point a game is 100% worth the extra $4 million you're going to pay a top free agent kicker over a rookie. That's what I don't get.
Chris Waddell says, sign me up for Lance and a second for Young and a fifth to the football team Commanders. That name is dumb. That'd be fascinating to get Chase Young. Chase Young. I don't know why I blanked on his name there. They seem to like Sam Howell, so I don't know. But the Commanders were the team that they were going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo to before he sabotaged that whole situation. So who the hell knows? I mean,
my thing is, I would love Chase Young, but how can you pay him? You know, let's say you bring him over and he does great, right? And he's everything you hoped he was. You can't afford him then. So you're getting 1 year.
Right, because the Commanders didn't pick up his fifth-year option.
Right. So that's my issue with it, is you're going to trade all of that for a very injury-prone player who, even if he does everything that you could possibly hope for, you spend a lot for 1 year of a guy who's then going to go get 30 million plus, right?
The 49ers are telling you they know best, despite NFL history, despite what they've seen, what's right in front of their face. They are telling you, no, we know better than you. We don't care about NFL history. We know better than you. Is there a chance it works? Yes. But there is a much, 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 much bigger chance that NFL history holds up and that it blows up in their face. And we could very well, I didn't say this on the air, Levin. I said it to Vish after we got off the air. Remember how the Harbaugh era ended, right? NFC Championship game,
rapidly,
NFC Championship game, and then they go 8-8 in 2014. And then Harbaugh is gone, Willis is gone, Justin Smith is gone, the roster is gutted, and all of a sudden they're starting from square one again. Well, let's look and see where we are with the 49ers, right? This is year 7 of Kyle Shanahan. They've gone to 3 out of the last 4 NFC Championship games. If they don't win a Super Bowl this year, which is statistically more than likely what will happen, they don't win a Super Bowl this year, Kyle Shanahan starts feeling the heat maybe after this year. If they don't win the Super Bowl again, he could be gone. Brock Purdy may not be the quarterback. They're going to get rid of Trey Lance. We'll be starting from square one all over again. Like, this is possible that this is a repeat of the end of the Harbaugh era.
I don't want to think about that.
It's true.
I don't. Part of the reason why the Harbaugh era ended so rapidly was that Harbaugh and Trent Baalke, the GM, were at war with each other.
Yep.
Literally at war with each other. That's not this scenario. So no. I can't see it ending that rapidly. Now, I could see it ending. I think John Lynch goes before Kyle Shanahan, right? John Lynch isn't sticking around if Kyle Shanahan's gone. I don't see John Lynch leading a head coach search, right? I don't think he cares. He'll go do announcing games at that point. But what I do see possible is that John Lynch takes an out. You know, that they were saying, hey, we're going to move on from you. We want to change the tune. Look, have Adam Peters take over or whatever it is. And Lynch takes an announcing job to save face and leaves. I can see a shakeup like that happening rapidly.
This is, well, first of all, don't think that everything is totally great between Lynch and Shanahan. Don't think that everything's copacetic between them, because I'm not sure it is, to be honest with you. So I'm not.
They're not at war.
Right. But I don't think that everything is kumbaya on the 49ers.
They're not openly trying to sabotage each other at the expense of the team.
No, we are not at that point yet. Chris Waddell says it's not a lot. Basically swapping Lance, guaranteed money for Lance, and a second and a fifth, and a monster pass rusher this year during the Super Bowl window we often hear about. I mean, you got to take the best. Whatever you trade Trey Lance for, just get the best offer, whether that's a player, whether that's a draft pick. I mean, there's nothing else you could do at this point to salvage the relationship. So you got to just end up taking whatever offer you get.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think that they'll want a player in return. I don't see that happening, but it's possible. I mean, if somebody has a decent backup offensive tackle, I wouldn't mind that being thrown into the deal. I can tell you that. Now you weren't listening to me, huh?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. That almost never happens. Let's see. Beats and meats. That's a great handle. Do you think Trey's camp demanded a trade? Yes. We said it earlier, 100%. I think Trey's camp demanded a trade. I think they finally got tired of all the crap, and they told him he was QB3 to start the season, and he was like, forget this. I'm out. I'm going public with this thing. There were rumors that Trey Lance had requested a trade months ago. I have no idea if that's true or not, but there were definitely rumors about that. And now I think the Trey found out he was QB3 and said, that's it. We're tired of getting jerked around. This is my career on the line, and we're going to force their hand now. And we're going to have to be the bad guy because we got pushed around and screwed over, basically. So, yes, we did address that. Shout out to Chris Waddell, who's now a YouTube channel member. Thank you very much, Chris. I feel we've grown closer over the last 8 hours, Chris. I appreciate it very much. So keep it locked here on the Gold Standard Podcast Network for all the latest developments and reaction. As you've seen, when news breaks, we're here for you. So please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Become a YouTube channel member. You can also follow us everywhere you get your podcast, Gold Standard 49ers Podcast Network. Levin, thanks for being able to hop in here on a moment's notice. I know we were planning on taping, but you popped in early, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, you can throw me a bone or something.
I'll throw a bone at you. Does that count? If we're ever in the same room together.
You would have to leave your basement to do that.
That's true. Well, no, not if you came to the basement. Come here, and then
I'm not going to Connecticut.
Yeah.
There's nothing good in Connecticut.
Accurate, except for pizza. We have the best pizza in the country. Other than that, there's nothing good in Connecticut. I agree with you.
Yes, that's the place everybody talks about.
No, seriously, it is. Do you not know about Connecticut pizza? Go look at the list.
Nobody outside of Connecticut knows about Connecticut pizza. Come on now.
No, I am dead serious about this. Go look at lists of the best pizza in the country. It's all in Connecticut. It's all in New Haven, Connecticut, 10 minutes from my house. I swear to God, we have the best pizza in the country. And that's the only good thing about Connecticut.
Do they make Chicago deep dish?
No, because Chicago deep dish is disgusting. That's not even real pizza.
Then they don't make the best pizza.
That's not pizza. That's a calzone.
That is pizza.
No, Chicago deep dish is not pizza. It's garbage. Straight.
Okay. New show idea. Rob is going to come, or we're going to meet halfway, and we're going to have a boxing match over pizza.
I'm telling you, like I'm not.
And we're going to live stream it, and it's going to cost $20 pay per view.
Maybe we'll make it a Patreon thing. I'm serious. If you Google best pizza in America, Connecticut pizza's on the list, and it's probably number one. This is a real thing. I swear to God. But anyway, try to enjoy the rest of your day, 49er fans. We'll see where it goes from here, but no matter where it goes, we will be here with you. And shout out to Chris Waddell. Deep dish pizza is gross. Thanks, everybody.
You know what I can't wait for? The Friday announcement during the second half of the game that Trey Lance has been traded.
Yeah, it's coming.
That will be midnight.
Oh, God. See you later.